week's Parshas Achre mot-kdoshem, something very nice from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchok Zatzal. This week's Parshas speaks all about the Achre, all the dinim of Yom Kippur, and in addition of not eating and drinking, we have the mitzvah from Ve'inisem B'Nafsheisechem, and based on that, there's many laws that we refrain from on Yom Kippur, and one of the things is not wearing any shoes. Rabbi Levi has a very interesting explanation in the Gemara. We won't go into all the details, but some interesting things that are connected to Yom Kippur. There's a interesting Gemara in Chulin Daf Chavdal Dam Beis. The Gemara speaks about over there the difference between someone who's young and old. And then the Gemara says about Rabbi Chanina. First, the Gemara says, what's considered a young person? Someone who could stand on one foot and take off a shoe and put on a shoe. Then the Gemara says, Rabbi Chanina, he was 80 years old, ben shmoinim shana, and he was able to stand on one foot and take off a shoe and put on a shoe. Choyletz nal v'noyel na'aloy, minaloy. Then he says, Gemara continues, Rabbi Chanina said, this is all thanks to my mother, who washed me with hot water when I was a kid, and smeared me, massaged me with oil, with shemen, and this made me healthy, and that's why even by 80 years old I could stand on one foot, and choylitz manole, v'noel manole, I could take off my shoe, put on my shoe. Asks Rabbi Levi in this Gemara a couple of questions. First of all, why does the Gemara say choylitz menoil? First he takes off his shoe and then he puts on a shoe. Usually, a person in the morning he puts on a shoe and then later on he takes off a shoe. Why does the Gemara talk about first taking off a shoe and taking off a shoe and then putting on a shoe? Choylitz menoloy v'noy il menoloy. Also, what's the connection over here with Rabbi Chanina? Everything is hinted in a person's name, everything a person says. And Chanina emphasizes over here the aim. It's all because of the mother. Ties from Rabbi Yitzchok everything over here with Yom Kippur. And Rabbi Yitzchok explains that this Gemara is hinting to the Yom Tov of Yom Kippur. The Yom Tov of Yom Kippur, before Kol Nidrei, you take off your shoe, and after you finish the tefillas, all the tefillas of Yom Kippur, you put on your shoe. That's what the Gemara says. Choylitz now, when he takes off his shoe and then puts on a shoe, referring to the day of Yom Kippur. Then comes Rabbi Yitzchok and continues and says, the day of Yom Kippur is interesting. It's hinted with mother. Two interesting ramazim. First of all, the opening of Yom Kippur starts with the tefillah, Oir Zarua Latzadik. You know, right before Bakol Nidrei, we start, Chazan says the verse, Oir Zarua Latzadik. You start with an aleph. How does Yom Kippur finish? Everyone screams out, Lashona Habo B'Yerushalayim. A mem at the end. It starts off with aleph, Oir Zarua. It finishes Yerushalayim with a mem. Together you have aim, mother. Here comes a deeper meaning, says Rabbi Levi Yitzchok. The whole Yom Kippur was, we got then the second luchos. Why was the first luchos broken? Because of the Chet Egel, the sin of the golden calf. We find the Medrash on the Posuk in Yeshaya Hanovi, Perik Dal, Posuk Dal, it says over there, Imrochatz Hashem will wash away as tsoyas benois Zion. The shmutz, the dirt from the Jewish people. And Rashi explains usually the word im means if. Here it means when, ki. Hashem will wash off. The Medrash learns out from here the whole concept of Porah Aduma, where you bring a Porah, a female animal. So the Gemara said this is the hint in the pasuk. Im, you spell aim. the mother, the Porah, will come and wash away what? The sin of its offspring, the eagle. The eagle, the calf, comes from the Porah, from the cow. So we see that the washing away of the sin of the Chet HaEgel is connected to aim, to mother. And it's connected over here, this Gemara too. That's why Rabbi Chanina says, my success, he was talking about Yom Kippur, that I could stand on one foot, take off a shoe before Kol Nidri, take it, put it on afterwards, comes from my mother. Because the whole concept of Yom Kippur is connected to the aim, the mother that will wash away the sin of the Chet HaEgel, which is the whole concept of Yom Kippur. And that's why he says first, Choyletz Na'aloi, and then afterwards, Noyel Minoloi. And this comes, Rabbi Yitzchok, and concludes, there's so many Ramazim, I'm only going to share with you this idea, that it's hinted in the name of Chanina. Chanina is spelled Ches Nun Yud Nun Aleph. But the root, the etymology of the word, the name, is Chanan, Ches Nun Nun. He brings many proofs to this in the Chumash. Chanan is interesting, it's a Rosh Tevis. Ches Nun Nun. In Hebrew, many times you have certain words that the middle letter goes twice. And over here it says, Rabbi Yitzchok, it's hinted exactly in the name of Rabbi Chanina, that he was 80 years old. He was able to stand on one foot. Chanan is a Rosh Tevis. Ches Nun means Choyletz Na'aloi. He can take it off his shoe. The last two nuns spells out Noyel Na'aloi. He could put on his shoe. And that's what Rabbi Chanina did exactly when he was even 80 years old. And this also connects. What did his mother do? She washed him. That's hinted what we said before, that the mother washes away the sins of the offspring of the calf, which is Chet HaEgel, which is connected to Yom Kippur. And also, what did she rub him with or massage him with? Oil shemen. Shemen also has exactly the same letters as Shemoinim, 80, and that's what the Gemara mentions, hints over here, and tells you Rabbi Chanina, when he was 80 years old, he was able to stand on one foot and take off a shoe, put on a shoe, hinted in the name of Chanan, all with the blessing of his mother, which is the holy day of Yom Kippur, washing away the sins, and also with Shemen, when he was 80 years old, he was so healthy because of his mother, that he was able to be so strong, and on one foot to take off a shoe and put on a shoe. See, all this is hinted in this Gemara. Interesting how the way Rabbi Yitzchok learns this Gemara.